Hi, and welcome to How to Engage Your Community During the Crisis. My name is Lalaa Comrie from Lalaa Rights & Co., and I'm here on behalf of the Canadian Black Chamber of Commerce. Together with SheaMoisture, we've created classes to encourage and support Black entrepreneurs across the country. We'll share resources to support you and your business during this time. So today, we'll be focusing on how to engage your community during the crisis. In this episode, I'll break down the fundamentals of building your brand online, tips for each platform, and I'll also talk a little bit about finding your voice and owning it online. So let's get started. With things changing so quickly, it might feel a little bit confusing. So here are 3 fundamentals of building a thriving online community during a crisis and well beyond it. Number 1, so be super clear about your community purpose. Your community purpose is how you integrate your community with your brand. So don't just assume that this is obvious, because it's not. Just because people are home and they're doing nothing and they have more time doesn't mean they're going to jump onto your live streams if you haven't created purpose or value for them to do so. In these times, a community without a purpose risks real brand damage because people want to hear what you think and they don't want it to sound inauthentic or irrelevant. If you do that, you might risk the lack of understanding of your customers' issues. So you got to be clear about it. In normal times, a community without a purpose is like a ship without a destination. Nobody gets on board. So ask yourself these 3 important questions. Who is coming to your community? Why are they coming? And what can they do when they get there? Number 2, don't undervalue the importance of community management. Whether you're managing your online community on your own or you're outsourcing it to a community manager, just don't cheap out when it comes to community management. And cheap out in terms of a budget or cheap out in terms of time. It's all about how you integrate your community with your customer experience. One of the most common reasons for community failure, in my experience, is that the business fails to understand the importance of this role and to give it proper time and proper resources. For instance, organizations believe that a community can just run itself without any management at all. Or they make management a part of somebody else's role whose focus is not community management. Missing this will harm your relationships online. Let's not forget that the point of social media is to be social. You have to invest in being present and having authentic interactions. During good and during bad times, community managers are the front line of your online business, and they handle even the most challenging customer engagements. Not only that, but your audience will get annoyed if it takes you 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days to respond to their questions, comments, or concerns. Number 3, you gotta bring something to the table. In other words, you have to contribute. You have to show up. Over time, effective contribution can significantly change your relationship with your community. Just like any other relationship, showing up goes a long way. Regular updates from your business on things like current events, who's doing what inside your business, any behind the scenes, or even show how your business is investing in the community during these troubling times. This builds trust, engagement, and collective understanding of business and where your business fits into the big picture. Especially in this current state, it's important to share where you stand, but be sure to be as authentic as possible, because if you're not, you'll get called out by your audience. Just look at so many examples online of people who are just not being authentic, and people will call you out. Next, let's talk about platforms. So if you're a business today, then there's a good chance you're already on social media in some way, shape, or form. But apart from being there, what's your purpose? That's the first question that you should answer. What are you trying to achieve? If your answer is because everybody else is there or because your competitors are there, then we've got a big problem. Having a social media presence is about setting goals, finding your authentic audience, and having those interactions. The four major platforms right now are Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Normally, people just choose their faves and stick to it. While that might work for some, I think the first thing for businesses should be to listen. Listen to the conversations happening around the topics that are relevant to your business. See where you can add value or where you can fit in. Growing your brand online during a crisis can be a challenge, but here are 3 tips to get you started on building a better social media presence. Number 1, seek relationships, not just followers. One of the conversations I have all of the time with clients is follower count. I think we could debate all day about whether or not followers are a vanity metric. With that being said, I think that having 100 followers who regularly engage with your content and are infinitely more valuable than 10,000 who just ignore you. The beauty about social media is that you can nurture relationships with people from everywhere. If you're not exactly sure where to start with that, when it comes to relationship building, here are some quick ideas. Number 1, always use the @mention when you talk about people in your social media posts. Number 2, answer questions that people ask. Number 3, reply. Reply to anyone who mentions you or who shares your content. And when you're retweeting or reposting, add value. Reply with a comment. Start a conversation. Be interactive. Okay, now let's talk about creating an editorial calendar. Number 2. Okay, stay with me here. Don't freak out. Every time I mention editorial calendars to clients, they begin to tap out. But here's the thing. If there's a common thread, between the biggest brands on social is that they post on a consistent basis, and a calendar helps you stay on track. A content calendar doesn't always have to be elaborate, but it does have to take some of the guesswork out of what you post. Taking time out to make a schedule does double duty of keeping your social media presence organized while also maximizing your content's reach. If you want to download a free editorial calendar template, head on over to lalawrites.ca. So we could go on about editorial calendars, and we could go into talking about the best times to post on social media. But what I would say there is no best times. The best times are when your audience is present, and that differs for everyone. Instagram and Facebook have made it incredibly easy for businesses to find out when their people are online. By looking at your analytics, you can see, okay, my audience is online from 11 to 12, so maybe I should post content at 11 to 12 so that they can be engaged. For LinkedIn and Twitter, it's a little bit more tricky. My rule of thumb is to take maybe 2 or 3 weeks and post at different times and see which posts get the most interactions, which times are your audience there, and go from there. Number 3, optimize. Optimizing your accounts increase engagement, and don't freak out, optimization is not rocket science. Profiles can be optimized through imagery, through keywords, and just fully filling out your account information. Optimization is key, but it's also a step that many brands overlook. For example, brands can use the link in your Instagram bio to link to promotions, to blog posts, even particular pages on their sites. With tools like Linktree, Milkshake, Tap Bio, and Campsite, there are so many options to increase your engagement there. And last but not least, let's talk about your voice. Since I am a copywriter, first and foremost, I have to stress the importance of having a distinct online voice. Finding your voice and owning it online is paramount to the success of your business, especially when you are competing to be heard with everyone else around. When I say voice, I mean your own unique style of communicating, the distinctive manner in which you share your thoughts, ideas with the world. Your business should have that, a distinctive voice that your people can recognize. The key to finding that voice is to listen to yourself. And how do you communicate with your customers? How do you speak to them when you're face to face? Here's how you can listen to yourself. Write your copy, then read it out loud. If it doesn't sound natural coming out of your mouth, then change it. Number two, just try recording yourself first and then writing it. If you do that though, make sure that you cut down on a little bit of the clutter because we tend to overspeak when we're talking, and just make it more tight and concise. A number of my clients have actually had such huge success with this method. Number three, read it to a friend. One who isn't afraid to keep it a little real with you. You see, what you may think sounds like your brand voice or sounds like you doesn't really. And if she's a good friend, she'll tell you that. So keep talking, keep listening, and keep writing, and you will find your voice. And when you do, everything else will click. Well, that's it for me today. I hope that you got some tips about engaging on social media during a crisis. On behalf of the Canadian Black Chamber of Commerce and SheaMoisture, thank you for joining us, and thank yourselves for taking the time out of your day to do something for you, your business, and ultimately your community. For more information about me, visit lalawrites.ca, and for more information about the Canadian Black Chamber of Commerce, visit blackchamber.ca. Thank you.
Welcome to Engaging the Community During a Crisis. My name is Nikki Clarke of The Nikki Clarke Show, and I'm here on behalf of the Canadian Black Chamber of Commerce. And alongside with SheaMoisture, we are here to offer encouragement and motivation through online classes to help Black entrepreneurs throughout Canada. And I want to share what I have learned in media and also through study about what the principles of buzzmaking are, how to be transparent online. I'm also going to talk about SEO optimization and also offer some advice on how to create a podcast or how to create a video series online. So let's talk about buzzmaking. There are three principles. Number one is to know your customer. Really get to know your client by having a rapport with them, asking them questions. And when you ask them questions, you're going to extract information. And this information is going to help you to develop an idea on what service or product you're going to offer them. So you can find out what you need to know or collect this data by asking direct questions, or you can design a questionnaire or even offer them a survey. And none of these have to be terribly complicated or formal or too long, but you need enough information so that you can take this data to know what makes your client tick so that you can have a meaningful, mutually beneficial business relationship. The second thing is you need to create a vehicle of transmission to create this value. And this is where you're going to decide, am I going to use Facebook? Am I going to use TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, or whatever you decide? The third principle is putting everything together. So now that you know your customer, and now that you have decided what platform you're going to use, now you're going to send your message, and you're going to offer your service, your product, or your advice through this vehicle. And away you go. Start buzzing. Now, I wanted to say something about being transparent online. We live in an era of total transparency, and whatever is done online stays online, albeit for a few seconds. Whatever you post is irreversible. So it's very important to be careful about what it is that you're posting. You don't want to be random. You want to be very strategic about whatever you post. You are among a sea of competitors, businesses vying for customers. They want to offer maybe the same thing you have, but maybe for less, or maybe add more. So there's a lot of activity going on online. What will make your website or your social media platform stand out? Credibility. A lot of people can offer the same thing, but yours will be the most attractive to clients because they trust you. And they can trust you through the creation of a very cleverly crafted branding. And everything in your branding, whether it be the posts or the images, the spelling, the grammar, it all holistically creates a great impression. And that's what is going to make you stand out. Remember the saying, it only takes a few minutes to make a good, lasting impression. So be very mindful of that, of your posting. You want to make sure your posts are consistent, that they are creative, and they're also contagious. And what I mean is that they want to keep, your posts are so good that people just want to keep coming back for more. You're offering what they need. Okay. So all this translates into transparency. All right. Be mindful of what you craft. Craft contagious material online. Keep it positive, keep it clean, and I almost guarantee you're going to have a loyal following of a niche market or whatever you're looking for. Your loyal followers will be there if your branding connects to their heart language, if they like what you're doing and they connect with it. The SEO is the search engine optimization, and I'll describe to you what that means. If you have a website, you want to make sure that it's set in a way, it's designed in a way that if people want to find you, they can. You see, people want to always do things, find things that are close by them. So your SEO has to be designed so that people can locate them from whatever vicinity your website is located in. So I'll give you an example. Say you're driving and your tire gets a flat. So what do most people do? They go to their phone and they ask Google, find me the closest tire repair shop. Now what they're doing then is Google is looking for the SEO that is set in the parameters of where you're driving. And they're going to pull up all the websites that meet that requirement of location. So if your website is one of those that is not set in that way, that's an easy fix. Just contact your web developer and let them know, I need to make sure that it's set within a certain parameter, within a certain vicinity, so people can find me online or easily through a search engine, whatever it is. That needs to happen. The other thing too, to make sure that you are high in rankings or you're visible. And what I mean by this is, if someone were to type in your company, and ideally they should find your company on the first page of searches. Otherwise, they don't look on the second or third or fourth page. They don't keep going. Most likely people don't. They want to find what they want to find right away. And if it's on the first page, great. Even better to see your company number one. Now you can do certain things to increase your rankings to make sure that you're number one, that you're relevant, that you have a strong presence online. And you do that by keywords. Keywords are located in Google Ads. You can type in a keyword or a word rather, and then it'll tell you how popular it is. how many places you'll find it on the internet, how often people use it. So you want to find things that will increase traffic or increase activity to your website or your social media post. That's very important. Keywords can do that for you. So you want to make sure that they're in your post consistently. You want to make sure that they're in your hashtags. And as many times as you do that, you're manipulating the algorithm. The algorithm shows the activity, the flow, the ebb and flow of activity on your social media posts. And you want to make sure that it keeps rising and not plummeting. So the more you put out of contagious material, the more you have engagement with your potential customers or followers, and the more your algorithms rise, and ultimately your ranking increases in that respect in the SEO, making you a very popular choice when people are searching for your business. The other way to engage people and to boost your visibility online is offer contests. People love to win things, giveaways. So if you can offer something maybe on a weekly or a quarterly or however often, that helps to increase what's called inbound link sharing. And this helps the algorithms as well. It doesn't hurt to ask your followers to like, comment, and share. That also will help to boost your visibility, as well as affecting the algorithms, helping everything rising to the top of your rankings. That's what you want to happen. Okay. The other thing is, people have asked me, I feel this creative energy now to maybe start a podcast or maybe do a video series. How can I do that on a budget? Well, here are a couple of ways that I find are really effective and don't really cost anything. If you want to go the podcast route, you can do that by going to Anchor, ANCHOR, anchor.ca, and you can set up an account. It's a very easy way to navigate through, to sign up and to create your podcast. You can actually even download the app and record your podcast there, or you can upload your recordings later on. In any case, they make it very easy for you to navigate through and to set up a podcast through Anchor. And then what Anchor does is that it distributes your recordings to other sites like Spotify, like iTunes. So it just keeps spreading the good word throughout podcast systems, which is a great thing. And then ultimately, if your podcast becomes popular, then you can monetize, and you monetize by people paying you to advertise their business on your podcast. And the other thing I find really fun to do, and it's cost effective, is Facebook Live posts are wonderful, and also Instagram Live. Both free, both easily accessible, very easy to navigate, very easy to use. And what they do is they help with the podcast, they help to make you become an authority on whatever topic you're offering. If you're offering interviews on, and you invite people who are related to the business world, and that's going to be your authority online in offering business advice, or if it's going to be health and wellness, you become the authority by interviewing people all related to this topic. So what that actually does is it also converts later on to revenue, because you're standing out online with this great credible presence, this being able to offer this wonderful wealth of information, so people keep turning back to you. And maybe this information is free now, but in time this can convert into revenue. This can convert into a client, and that's what you want to do. You want to be offering free or complimentary. I don't like to use free, complimentary service to create this rapport, and later on it'll work out into revenue later. So I hope these tips have been helpful for you. I'm Nikki Clarke, and I appreciate your time. So I just want to thank you for watching. And if you want to connect with me, again, you can go to my website, thenikkiClarkenetwork.com. And also, if you want to connect with the Canadian Black Chamber of Commerce, you can go to blackchamber.ca. So I wish you all the best. Stay positive, stay safe, and all the best in your business. Bye for now.